Hey guys, I am here today with my favorite health and wellness girly on Instagram, Coral Pearl. She is incredible. If you follow her, you know how amazing she is. She is such a cool mum. She gives the best advice, best tips, and I am so excited to go into everything health and wellness and parenting today. So welcome, Coral.
Thank you so much for having me, Bryony. I'm really excited.
I'm so excited about this. I feel like I'm just going to ask you all the selfish questions that I want to know, and I know that you're just so genuine and so real, so I'm really excited for this. So let's start with how this all began, because you have such a loyal following on Instagram. They're really engaged, hang on your every word. How did this whole health and wellness focused account start?
Well, it's taken a long time. I started my account, about 10 years ago when my youngest was little, and it was mainly focused on her and like kids fashion. And then as my sister-in-law and I had a juice bar, it then kind of I just naturally started to talk about my passion, which is health and wellness. And,
so you had started the most amazing juice bar in Brighton with your sister-in-law. That's so cool. I wish you still had that.
I wish I still had it, honestly. Like, we genuinely, I know I'm biased, but it's a bit like you with your matcha. Yeah. We genuinely had the best juices and smoothies. Like, everything was organic. It was just incredible.
So that's that's where your passion was like born, really.
Basically, yeah.
And what was your thing what was the kind of USP of the cafe?
I think it was that we made everything from scratch, but also we were one of the only ones in the UK that was completely organic and cold pressed.
Okay.
So our attention to detail was immaculate. We wouldn't scrimp or save on anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was just everyone would go there.
And it was vegan, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, because you were ahead of the time, and also now you're not vegan. So at the time, were you vegan?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. I love it. I mean, we were just talking how obsessed I am with mints. We should just do a podcast on mints.
I'd happily do that.
Yeah. So you have completely kind of turned things around. First of all, why were you vegan at that time?
I think, it's just information that you're fed at the time, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I was pregnant and I was so worried about eating anything that would harm. This was pregnant with my second Sufi, and I was so worried about putting anything that would be toxic into harming her. And at the time, I thought that was the right decision to make. I didn't really know what I know now about meat, and it was obviously demonized. Meat and dairy were really demonized at the time, and I just thought I was doing the right thing for my baby.
So it was more of like a pregnancy focused thing rather than you. It was just about you being pregnant and giving the best to your baby.
Yes, definitely. And also I'd heard a lot of information that was saying that raw vegan was the best way
it's
to
crazy,
eat.
Isn't it? And I mean, for some people, I think it is. And we were also just saying this, like we're very much, I don't know, we don't want to throw our opinion down people's throats. But I mean, I remember when my mum had cancer, the first thing she was told by her doctor was become vegan, which is so interesting because it's not really something doctors had ever said. But for her at that time, she was just told, no dairy, no meat, no eggs, just focus on a low inflammation diet. And that was what she was kind of fed then.
Which in comparison to a standard diet, vegan probably would be more beneficial because you're cutting out a lot of the processed foods.
Yeah.
So if you're doing that and you're cutting out, standard bread and bagels and muffins or whatever, then that is obviously going to be more healthy than...
But actually, I find often vegans can eat more processed food because then you have the fake meat.
Like the fast food vegan diet almost.
Yeah, which I think is probably the worst one of all of them because it's like we don't know what is in that burger or whatever. And by the way, I would be the first to eat a vegan burger, a non-vegan burger, but I'm just saying we couldn't kind of like live on that.
Yeah.
So now you are animal-based.
Yes.
Okay, tell us all about being animal-based. What is it?
Well, I can't take full credibility for this because I don't know if any of you follow Paul Saladino. He is like the animal-based god.
Okay.
So the reason I actually became animal-based is because I tried a ketogenic diet.
Yeah.
Which is...
keto,
yeah,
right?
A keto diet. And basically when I was doing it, I did feel amazing. I actually did feel really good and had lots of energy, but it just didn't make sense to me as to why you would not eat fruit when it's put on this planet, I think, for our consumption.
Yeah.
Why does it look so appealing? Why does it taste so naturally appealing to humans, and yet we shouldn't eat it? It just didn't make sense.
For everyone listening, what is keto then?
So keto is like a high-fat, no-carbohydrate diet.
Yeah.
So when I was doing that, I wasn't having any sugars whatsoever. Like I might have a few blueberries, but it was mainly high fat and protein.
And you felt good?
Yes, I did actually feel really good.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I was speaking with Rose Ferguson about keto, and she was like, people love it because in the beginning they feel amazing.
You do.
But it's just,
I've never felt so clear.
Yeah, which is so funny, isn't it? But then it's just not sustainable. She said it's really not a long-term option.
Yeah.
So trying keto, I mean, this is just kind of what I've heard. This is not my opinion. I don't know about being keto, but yeah, it seems like the short term it's really good, and then long term it's not so sustainable.
Yeah, you have I noticed a lot of weight loss. My brain fog went.
Yeah.
I had a lot of energy, but it wasn't sustainable at all.
And you feel, so then tell us what animal based is.
So I then went on to paleo after keto, which was just still no grains, but I was having nuts and seeds within that. And then the more I learnt about certain things in nuts and seeds, I then tried animal-based, which is meat, fruit, raw dairy, raw honey, fish and eggs.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah. So it's basically all animal products, but then with fruit.
Amazing. Yeah. And this is what you think will just be your diet forever?
I've genuinely never felt
better.
So, no. Honestly, my skin, my clarity, my hair, everything just feels really strong and good. So, yeah.
And you have loads of energy.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And how do you... So it's obviously quite high protein.
Yeah.
So are you being strict in terms of measuring your protein every day? You just really intuitive with the whole thing? I
think with trying to balance everything, I just try and relax. And again, I just try and kind of eat intuitively. So I often have like an omelette for breakfast, and then at least I know I'm getting some protein first thing. And then as long as the kind of bulk of my meals are protein, then I kind of feel like it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not You're very good
fussy. No.
I wish I was a bit more strict, but I just don't kind of have the time. And I think being out as well, like I'm always in London or traveling around, and I just don't know how I would do that. I don't want it to take over my mind as well, because then I think it can become stressful.
Yeah, exactly. If you become too obsessive, it just takes over the enjoyment of actually eating, and it should be enjoyed. It's not healthy. No. So what would you eat in a day then?
So on average,
it's hard this question, because people are like, well, what do you eat in a day? And I'm not sure I love the what I eat in a day Instagram things, because I mean, it completely varies. I don't know about you. And some people, I think it does work because they just eat the same every single day. I don't eat the same. But roughly, what would your kind of an average day look like? Well,
because it is quite restrictive in what you can eat, it generally will be quite similar what I have each day, but it just depends if I'm on the go and there's nothing I can have. Obviously, it won't be what I've cooked from home. But say if I was at home, I would often have like an omelette for breakfast, and then maybe make like a raw kefir smoothie with berries and banana and raw honey, bee pollen for minerals, and then obviously you get the probiotics from the kefir, from the fermented raw milk.
Where are you getting your raw kefir from? What brand?
It's a farm in Tunbridge Wells, or near Forest Row, called Plawhatch Farm. And they're incredible. So they have all the cows there. They're all fed spring water.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you're going to get raw milk, I really trust them.
There?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not always, because it's about an hour from Brighton. So we go and then we stock up.
Okay.
Obviously, it's a perishable
product. So you can't get there.
But then I do sometimes get them delivered, not from Plawhatch, from a company called Old Hall Farm.
Okay.
And they deliver raw milk to your door.
Amazing. So you do raw milk, raw kefir.
Yes.
So in the morning, sorry, I interrupted you on that.
No, it's okay.
So go back to what you were having in the morning? So you'd have the raw kefir.
Yeah, so I'd have the omelette with the raw kefir smoothie, and then I also think that's really good for the girls as well, because I can kind of hide different things in there. So I even put like organ meat capsules, like desiccated organ meat capsules in the smoothie, so I know that they're getting the nutrients, and then they can't taste it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where do you get those from?
So I order mine to Ape Nutrition, do really good ones.
Okay.
And then if you're based in the US, I think it's Heart and Soil. They do really good ones.
And why do you think they're good, the organ meat capsules?
Because they're...
all of the nutrients.
Yeah. I think they're the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet that are actually bioavailable to us. So not in a synthetic form. Our body will recognise the nutrients and you can absorb them and use them.
And would you rather have that in a capsule than actually have the organ meat?
Well, do you know what? We managed to find a farm up north. Yeah, it does. And taste-wise, you do have to come around to it. But we actually found a farm up north called Gazegill, and they do, for you, mince mixed with organ meats. It's like 10% organ meat.
Right.
Or burgers mixed with organ meat, all organic, and you can get that delivered.
And you'd never taste it?
I think they say it's like a slight difference, but when I'm having that with like courgette and...
You wouldn't?
You can't taste it, no.
Okay.
So you have to give that a go.
And is your husband doing this at the same time as you?
He is, and he was really strict last year, and then he just loves food though. He's Persian and he just grew up on rice and
all the things
he
you
loves
can't
food.
eat.
I'm quite good. I can easily say no to something, whereas he struggles a little bit more. But he generally, and he actually cooks for us as well. So in the morning, he'll just do the burgers and everything for us, and which is really helpful. Yeah.
So what are you having for lunch then?
So often I'd have the organ meat burgers, but then we roast butternut squash and courgette. Amazing. And then maybe some avocado with that as well.
Delicious. So it's actually a lot of food that you're eating.
Yeah.
And do you find, because it's quite protein based, well, it is protein based, do you find that you're getting less hungry in between meals?
Yes, definitely.
That's something I've really noticed with my mince obsession.
What, that you don't get as hungry?
No,
That's
no,
really
and I feel full. Like I really feel like I don't think I'm eating much more, but the mince or chicken sausages,
Bryony's new
really
obsession.
filling me up. Yesterday I bought 3 chicken sausages into the office, and everyone was like, okay, this needs to stop.
You literally get obsessed on a food and then that's it.
I know. But I think one of the things that, so Rose got me kind of more I was already having protein, but
what kind of protein were you having before you were having
this,
you had fish though, didn't
I had
you, before?
fish. So it was vegan plus fish.
Okay.
So no eggs, no meat, no dairy.
Yeah.
But I was also having protein shakes every day because I was really focused in getting it in if I could. So Rose made me more aware of, okay, you need a bit more protein. And she was giving me more fish and more things like that, but naturally I just craved
So is she your nutritionist? Does she do meal plans for you and everything?
Yeah, she's amazing. I don't do meal plans, but she gives me guides, and for example, I was away the whole of January and we were eating out and drinking, everyone was doing dry January, and I feel like I was doing soaking wet January, every day, just drinking and eating 3 meals out a day, and it was so fun. But when I got home, I was like, okay, I need when you just want 5 days of super clean, kind of super clean lifestyle, eating everything, 5 to 7 days. So I actually 100%. I did fasting for a week when I got home. So
And what did that entail?
Well, it wasn't very intense. It was just I started eating at 12, which I normally have a matcha first thing, and then I'll eat earlier. So it was just I just started eating at 12, stopped at 7 for a week, just to feel a bit. And I think a lot of it's mental, to be honest. I felt a little bit more in control. I think it was mostly that.
Yeah.
I probably did.
You probably are detoxing as well, because
and giving that rest.
Yeah, exactly. If you allow your body to not eat for a certain amount of time, then it's able to naturally detox, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So, but other than that, I don't do meal plans or anything like that. I just, like you, I couldn't really stick to it, being on the go, and I love food. I love going out. I love eating out. So, yeah, I would find that too hard. So, do you snack in between?
It depends. I had a coffee on the way up, and I just wanted something sweet, so I had a little date with butter, which is my favourite. Oh yeah, snack.
I saw that. Yeah. And what butter do you have? A specific?
Just a grass-fed organic butter.
Yum.
Honestly, you have to try it. It's the most elite snack ever.
Really?
Yeah. If you like medjool dates,
I love medjool
with
dates.
a little tiny bit of butter in between.
Oh.
Honestly, it's a game changer. It's so good.
I'm gonna try that because I love it with peanut butter. So you don't have nut butters, do you?
No.
And why is that? Just doesn't work well for you?
Yeah, it doesn't actually work well for me. But there's just, again, been a lot of demonization that I've heard recently. And I'm just trying these things.
Yeah.
I'm not saying to anybody, this is right, this is wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just trying what works for me. And personally, I'm feeling so good at the moment that I just think...
Stick with
yeah,
what...
exactly.
That's what I think it's about. If you're feeling good and you're eating the way that you're eating and you feel great, just stick with that. Don't let TikTok or whatever kind of take you somewhere else.
Actually.
It is.
Yeah.
And I think just on the seeds, the nuts and seeds thing, there can be, like, sometimes if you actually think about it, like I spoke to Rose about a lot of these myths that are out there, like there's mold in your peanut butter, and she was like, no, there's not. Like, ignore that.
Okay.
And then the same people that are saying there's mold in your peanut butter are saying, but eat cashew butter. And she's like, no,
That's more
because
mold. Yeah,
she said if they're applying this type of thought process to the peanut butter, it also accounts for the cashew butter. So it
100%.
It doesn't make sense. And then if you're saying, I've recently just invested in a milk company, and which I've never actually tagged or shared about it, so it's a completely different thing, but I'll share more ASAP. It's in America at the moment, but it's so good. Anyway, I have been really researching seed oils and nut milks and everything, and there's been so much negativity about sunflower seeds and sunflower seed oil, and actually researching, like, I know you don't because it doesn't react well for you, but I would put organic sunflower seeds on my salad and not think twice.
Okay.
But yet everyone's like, oh, if you crush it and it turns into an oil, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, it's the same product that you probably had last night on your salad. Like, it's all fine. So I think we just freak ourselves out about these things. But
100%.
So that would be your go-to snack. Do you have any other snacks?
Dates and butter are like my faves.
I'm going to try that as soon as I get
because
home.
I have raw, like, unpasteurized cheese, sometimes I'll have like that with a bit of cucumber, just like a little
I love
snack.
that.
But again, I don't really tend to, and
you're
also
so
because
full.
if I'm out on the go, I can't really find anything to snack.
Yeah.
Like a banana or an apple, I'll often take out in my bag.
Yeah.
Just as like an emergency.
Yeah.
And
then for dinner, what are you having?
Often some fish.
Okay.
So even Paul Saladino doesn't necessarily recommend fish, but I like the thought of getting the omegas in there as well. So like salmon with avocado or something like that.
Why does he not like fish?
Probably due to the heavy metals.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can get a lot of mercury in fish.
Yeah, so again, it depends where you're sourcing it. And
yeah, I try and get wild salmon.
Yeah.
And I don't have it every day, but then I do really like salmon.
Yeah.
I feel, when you eat something and you feel really nourished, sometimes having a lot of red meat can make me feel a little bit nauseous.
Yeah.
If I have too much in one day.
Yeah.
So I just try and mix it up a little bit. But sometimes I'll have like a steak or something like that as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Amazing. And I've also seen actually, before we get on to that, you have two gorgeous little girls. How old are they now?
11 and 7.
They are so cute. When you post the reels of them, it just kills me. When you tagged me in the workout one with the morning routine one with Sufi, she's just so sweet. So how do you deal with cooking for yourself and your husband and cooking for the girls, because they're not on an animal based or any type of diet? They're just
I think you just have to find things that work for all of you. It is a juggle, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But then, for example, I'll make these like banana pancakes, which are literally, you just blend 2 eggs and 1 banana.
Yeah.
And that'll make 2 little pancakes. So that's animal based. So I could have that.
Yeah.
Or then they love smoked salmon. So I'll do them like smoked salmon on toast or something like that, sourdough. But again, at the same time, I don't want them growing up fearing food. And also I know they're going to be in environments at friends' houses or at parties where they're going to be around this food. And I don't want them to feel that they can't have that. Yeah, exactly. So I think as long as I always think if they're getting some of the nutrients, I try not to take things out of their lives, but I just try and put the goodness in. So I know they've got the building blocks.
Yeah, that's really good. And you're adding the capsules into their morning smoothie.
Yes. It's all these little things.
Yeah, and the banana pancakes.
Yeah.
They're probably thrilled. So they love it.
They don't know any different. So it's great.
So those would be like your go-to meals that the girls love. The
Yeah, but even
pancakes.
like for example, the mince that I was saying with the organ meat, I do bolognese for them with like brown rice
Yeah.
pasta. So then at least they're getting some of the nutrients from the mince and the organ meat in the pasta as well. Again,
Yeah.
it's like sneaky little ways.
Yeah, and you're
of
not having to
incorporating.
redo a full meal.
Exactly, because then we do the mince for all of us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, amazing. And they are homeschooled, because I was going to
They
say,
are, yeah.
obviously you don't have to factor in them being in school
No.
with the meals. So what made you make the decision to homeschool them? And when did you do it from the start?
Yes, so neither of them have ever been to school. They went to nursery. Ava went to a Montessori nursery, and then she was enrolled to school.
Okay.
We went along to the open day of the school, and I met the teacher, and I just didn't naturally warm to her whatsoever. She wasn't particularly nice to Ava. She wasn't that warm to me.
Yeah.
And it didn't sit right. So I left and
Okay.
felt really uncomfortable. And then I spoke to my dad about the situation, and he planted this seed in my head, and he said they don't actually have to go to school. And I was like, well, of course they have to go to school. Every child
Yeah.
has to go to school. And then he was like, no, they don't. And then I looked more and more into it, and I found that there was a massive homeschool community in Brighton. And I just thought originally that we would do a year, and
Yeah.
she would just do reception with me. And then we just didn't look back.
Wow.
Yeah.
And had your dad been homeschooled?
No.
So what
No.
made him say that? Is
I
he
think-
kind of a bit more open-minded about things?
Yes, definitely. So he lived off-grid in the forest.
Yes,
So
I
he
saw
had
that.
lived quite an alternative lifestyle. And he was also just around a community of people that kind of thought in an alternative way, I suppose. So he knew of other children that were home educated
Yeah.
within his community of friends. And he
How
just saw how happy they were.
inspiring.
Yeah.
So he completely lived in a forest.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Literally completely in like a cabin in the woods.
I bet the girls loved that.
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing. So he kind of inspired you to just live an open-minded life about those
Definitely.
things.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's amazing. And so you didn't look back. You went and put Ava, your first child, in homeschool. She loved it.
Yeah.
So I know this sounds really naive, but are you the teacher?
Yes and no. So actually on a Monday and a Tuesday, they go to like a home ed school, which is run by ex-primary school teachers who saw issues within the school, the
System.
kind of public schooling system. So they started up something called the Imaginarium. So they get to socialise, they do project-based learning with these teachers, and it's all
Wow.
mixed age groups. So I like that because I know that they're kind of seeing friends as well.
They're
during that time.
socialising.
And also, obviously, it gives me a break because it is a balance trying
I
to,
don't know how I did it.
have a life yourself and also work, and then being with your kids all the time as well. But then they have tutors as well. So there's certain topics. Now that Ava's getting older, I don't feel confident enough.
Yeah.
Honestly, you should
Sometimes
see
it's
some of
so
the things.
hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard, isn't
Yeah.
it?
I've
It's like
forgotten everything I
intense.
learned from school when it
Oh
comes
my
to
gosh.
academic
Oh my God.
subjects. But again, that also, to me, almost rings an alarm bell because I feel like so much of what I learned at school I don't remember.
Wasn't relevant,
And
yeah.
and even now more so the way the world is moving so quickly, like how much is what they learn now going to be relevant when they finish?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, even university, I couldn't tell you what I learned.
Did you go to uni as well?
I went to uni, but I did it part-time, so I did it in the evenings. And
Okay.
it was fashion business that I
Yeah,
studied
what did you study? Okay.
at London College of Fashion. So I did it in the evenings, and I hated it, to be honest. Education in that,
you?
like after school, wasn't for me at all.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I can completely understand that you looked back and thought, well, I can't even remember what I learned.
And I don't use it. We have an encyclopedia and a calculator in our pocket now.
Yeah.
Not saying that
Yeah.
you don't need to learn anything whatsoever.
No, but it's true.
Yeah.
But it's true.
The world is so different.
Yeah, and what would you say to people that are like, it's not natural, kids need to be in school? I mean, I'm sure you've been faced with that on Instagram.
I don't know what is natural. I think actually if you look back to how we evolved as humans, it was only in the Industrial Revolution that school was created anyway, and I think that was almost to prepare people for work. I don't actually necessarily think
That the school system's natural.
No.
Yeah.
It's only to fit into our modern day world, which who says is right or wrong anyway.
And was your husband completely on board with this
No.
decision? Okay.
No, definitely not. He went to a really well-known private school.
Okay.
So he...
In Sussex?
Yeah, Brighton College.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he just couldn't get his head around it initially. But now he's like the biggest advocate for it.
He?
And he's so proud of the girls. And honestly, even a lot of his family members or friends who know the kids, they're really polite.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you're doing is working because they are such angels. They're so sweet.
Thank you.
But it's interesting because I think a lot of couples would be in that phase as you were, where one strongly believes in the homeschooling, the other really doesn't. And then you don't want to you have to agree. So, but yeah, I mean, you could always just give it a go. And then, like you say, you didn't have any expectations to continue.
No, exactly. And also, who's to say, honestly, Ava has asked a little bit about secondary school, and if she really wants to go, we'll let her try that. Yeah. I never
You're
want to,
like,
no.
Okay.
It's an experience. If she wants to have that, of course, I'll let her.
Yeah, and at that age, they can make their choice.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was saying earlier, your following is so engaged and so loyal and just love you, but have you experienced people sending you messages about your diet or the way you parent? A lot about the diet?
Yeah, more so diet, not really parenting. I get a lot of questions. It's actually one of my most asked questions is about home education, but more so how people would start. And just tips. Whereas with the diet, I do get a little bit of stick, which I understand because it isn't for everybody. And if you are vegan, it's the complete opposite of what you believe. So I totally understand that.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say you should try it. I'm saying this is what I do.
And if you want to, that's the thing. And it's almost like you're putting out there what you're doing, and if other people want to have a little look or they're interested, here it is. But there's no pressure.
Yeah.
And just going back to homeschooling, where would you start if you were a parent interested?
I would personally try and find local Facebook groups. Okay. So that is where I started anyway. So that's where I found Ava's Forest School that she went to, and also you find a community of like-minded parents that if you can't afford a tutor or you're struggling to balance work and everything, you can do swaps with mums. So I would say, I'll look after your child for the afternoon and then vice versa. So I think Facebook groups are a really good place to start. Yeah. If you can, get a tutor, that'd be great. But also just look into what's going on in your local area, because you'd be surprised as to what's going on.
And were there any other clubs for people in the Brighton area that you would recommend taking their kids to?
So now they do Aikido, which is like a martial art. They have a home ed session for that. Tomorrow we're actually going to a place called Out of Bounds, which is like a rock climbing place, and that's home ed sessions. Then like horse riding, they have home ed horse riding.
Oh, amazing.
So there's honestly, if you actually look in to a lot, even like home ed art, they have clubs for that. So a lot of places that run extracurricular activities will often run a lot of homeschool groups as well. But you just need to look into. You
probably feel like they're so sociable.
They really are.
You feel like you can't keep up with their social calendar.
Yeah, I honestly feel like a part-time taxi driver a lot of the time. But also I think if you think of how much time kids are actually social in school anyway, it's not a lot in comparison to how much my kids hang out with their friends. So
yeah, it's true, because you're there you're there for the lessons, you're learning, you're doing and then you come home and do your homework on your own. Whereas they're probably having so much fun along the way. They love it. And what about Sufi? How is she finding it? Would she be open to going to...
My only concern with Sufi, she's quite a different character to Ava, so I don't know how she would deal with like an authoritative figure. So I don't know if she's quite at the age yet. She doesn't like listening to instructions.
She's quite sassy.
Yeah, which is fair enough. And I don't want to kind of put out that fire in her either. I think it's a really good thing to have. But at the same time, I don't know if she's ready yet. So I might kind of... If Ava did decide to go to school, I would probably carry on the journey with Sufi just for now. And then maybe one day she's ready. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. And is your husband encouraging Ava to kind of go to school, or is he like, now we're used to this?
It's hard as well, because also the flexibility and the freedom we have as a family, I feel like it would tie us down even to like having, because we might be going on holiday next week, and that's within in term time.
Yeah.
So if then all of a sudden...
So how does that work then? You do your own term time, basically?
Well, we would have to take them out of the groups and everything, but we're not going to get fined, or they're not going to miss out on anything.
Okay. And
And
then
I
you
think
would
that's
just,
they learn more on holiday
I know.
than they would, doing their
Even
Greeks and
just
that
things
stuff,
like trying different foods,
Yeah.
hearing different languages,
seeing different
and
sights.
different
It's like
cultures.
your comfort zone.
Yeah, it is. That's where you actually remember and you look back on those times so much.
100%.
So that's true. It gives you more flexibility.
Yeah. So that's the one thing I think
Will be a
we
change.
we'd feel a little bit sad about. But, at the same time, we've had so much freedom already that that's, we have to respect that if she wants to do that, we'll do that.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. And just going on to your wellness routine, because that's what I'm excited to talk about. I mean, I'm going to go back to this when I'm a parent one day and listen to all these tips from you. But I would love to hear what your current morning and evening routine is.
Okay. So, I mean, it varies day to day.
You are quite strict and consistent, though.
I am. There's certain things that I cannot not do. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't feel like I'm awake. But then there's certain things that if I have a bit longer, like on a Sunday morning, I'll try and fit everything in. Yeah. But I try and wake up at 4:45 in the morning.
I love that. That was after reading the 5 a.m.
Yeah. Literally changed my life. Honestly, amazing. I can't recommend it more. And obviously, it's not for everybody because some people are night owls, and if you're a night owl and you're productive in the evening, then go for it. But I just end up watching TV or scrolling Instagram. So I think I would rather have that time, utilize that time in the morning. Yeah. And it just sets me up to be a much more present, happier, prepared person for the day.
So 4:45 you wake up, then what do you do?
So I set 3 alarm clocks. So I have one next to my bed, then I have now just started putting my phone outside my bedroom. Yeah. So that it stops me scrolling at night, and then I find it easier to go to sleep. So then I get up, brush my teeth, and then I try and be ready to work out at 5. So I literally put the kettle on. Yeah, put the kettle on so that the kettle's boiled for after my workout. Yeah. And then I'll do like a 30-minute, whether it be one of your classes or sometimes a Kundalini class, or sometimes I've just started to try and incorporate some more weights. Amazing. So I do that. And normally try and do like a half an hour. If it's Kundalini, then I'll block out like 90 minutes. Wow. Because that's often how long the classes are. But then obviously I wouldn't do the rest of the routine if I was doing that. Yeah, exactly.
And is that all from home?
Yeah, yeah. Occasionally I'll meet a friend at the gym, and I love that because it is nice to get out.
And when you do, if you don't always do it, it's like somehow nicer because it's like, oh, this is a change.
It is, but then I just get frustrated with the time that it takes to go to the gym and all these. Because I feel like I have limited time.
You're more
every
efficient.
Minute counts to me, so that's why I love the fact that I can do your classes literally if I want to in my pajamas. Yeah, and it's not taking away my time, my precious time that I have in the morning. Yeah, exactly.
So then that takes you to 5:30. So then you make your, is it bone broth that you have it?
Yes, so sometimes I have a bone broth and I do have a coffee, but I have that with like it's like a bulletproof mix. So it's almost like a butter and MCT, and that keeps you in a fasted state, but then with the fats, it stops you being hungry. Yeah. And also then I have the caffeine because of the coffee. Yeah, exactly. So I have that, and then depending if I've got a long morning, then I'll try and do like an ice bath and a sauna. I've got an infrared sauna blanket, so I'll do that. If I've not got a lot of time, then I'll just do like a cold shower instead. I also have an infrared light, which sometimes I'll sit in front of and either do a meditation or send emails in front of the light. And it honestly just makes you feel, obviously you have an infrared sauna, so you know how beneficial it is. But I just feel like it warms me to my bones. I can almost feel my cells like being healed. It's just 100%. The opposite of inflammatory. Like to me, I feel like it's so anti-inflammatory.
I can vouch for that. It's changed my arthritis. I have no symptoms now when I do the saunas.
That's amazing, isn't it? Do you think that's with the ice bath as well? Do you think?
I think so. I think it's the contrast, but I think it's mostly the heat. But I do think the contrast helps. Yeah. For sure. Because
and you feel so good afterwards.
My symptoms were so bad before I
Do you do it every day?
No. Most days. But
again, probably depending on your...
Exactly, on the schedule. So minimum 4 times, but sometimes I'll do it 7 times a week.
Wow, okay.
So if I've got a really busy week, I'll only do it 4 or 5 times, but I'll try and get it in because you're so right. You feel it.
And I feel like you've not woken up now. No, if I don't do these practices, I honestly feel like I'm not awake.
Don't feel like yourself. Yeah, so true. Okay, so you do that, and then what?
And then
you get ready for the day.
Yeah, and then so like
do you have a
body
late
brush.
Breakfast?
Yeah, so I wouldn't eat until like at least 10 o'clock probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually don't really get hungry, and I think because I have the bulletproof coffee as well,
Yeah.
it just like takes the edge off. And then often I'm getting the girls ready, they wake up at 7.
Yeah.
So I only have a short window of time. On a Sunday, if we're not rushing out, then I'll be able to expand and do all my practices and really do like a meditation, some breath work. But if I am rushing, then I'll just have to do the bare minimum of what makes me feel good.
And then you're doing homeschooling.
Well, it depends. Like for example, this morning I got them ready and they had to be at their group at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
So we were out the house at 8:30. So that wasn't then on me to home educate them.
And
it's
are those
just
the
dropping
days
them.
that you would, because you're so on it with the content and things like that, you're so good.
See, I don't feel like I am in comparison to a lot of people.
You really are. You're really good with that. Do you time block, or how do you manage your time?
I do feel like time blocking makes a massive difference. And actually recently I saw, do you know Sammy Clark?
Yes.
Yes, I saw that she had a sand timer, a 15-minute sand timer. And she does like time.
That's such a good idea.
Honestly, I absolutely love it now. So even if I have to like tidy the house, I'll do. So it means you can't look at your phone for those 15 minutes, and it stops you setting a timer on your phone.
That
as
is
well.
Such a good tip.
Honestly, I bought one for Ali as well because he thinks he's got ADHD because he gets so distracted. So I was like, use this, and then you just have to focus for those 15 minutes.
In that time.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
So that really helps as well because it just means that I just work really hard for those 15 minutes
Solidly.
and then take a little break. Honestly, I literally got one on Amazon. It's like really nice white.
And is it 15 minutes? It gives you? Okay.
It was like £10.
And then, so do you have like set days where you would do your own work or like content and you're studying? Are you still studying?
No.
So
qualified? I just did this. It wasn't a really long course that I did, but I did that. But actually now,
you want to go? Do you want to do more or?
Yeah, I would love. Do you know what? In an ideal world, I would love. If I could go back in time, I would study to be like a functional medicine doctor or something.
Yeah.
But I just feel like time is so limited, and because I'm with the girls a lot, I just don't have the time right now. But eventually, maybe when they grow up, I might look into, because obviously you have to do a degree and then you have to then go on to do. So it's a lot of time.
I was talking to Rose yesterday, and it was.
Is she a functional medicine doctor as well? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's done 9 years. Because she's done a master's as well.
Wow.
9 years. But she decided to do it when she was 33.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, because she was this huge supermodel, still is, and then decided to just go down different paths. So I think it's so inspiring when you see things like that. But it is a huge commitment, you're right. Yeah. And if you've got kids and it's just like...
I just want to enjoy my time with them now as well. I feel like it's so limited, and I'm really lucky with the job that I have that it's flexible. Yeah. So right now I can fit my work into 2 hours, or sometimes it includes them, or I shoot when I'm out on the go. Yeah. Rather than, I don't want to then have something else to distract me, because phones are really distracting as well, aren't they?
They're so distracting. Yeah. You're so right. If you just put your phone away, you get so much more done in such a concentrated time. Yeah. And if it's like a discipline when you're like, okay, in the next 15 minutes, I'm not even going to look at your phone. At my phone, you're like almost excited to check it.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like
what's happened in 15 minutes.
And this is so wrong, but this is how my brain works. It's almost like I need treats for things.
Yeah.
So that's why I'll have my coffee after my workout, because it's like my
reward.
treat of work. Yeah, exactly. So my reward for solidly working for those 15 minutes is then looking at my phone.
Yeah, you're so right.
It's just these little things, but if they work for you, it's
I know, because we all have that like inner child that you just need to reward all the time. I've got a puppy at the moment, and I'm just like thinking of him every time he does something. I'm like, good boy.
And that's you, 15 minutes of work.
Exactly. So your evening routine, is it quite, do you go to bed really early?
Yes, I have to. So I try and start the process with the girls quite early. So even if I've like been out all day, then I'll try and like take my makeup off by like 6-7 o'clock and start winding down. Yeah. And as I said recently, I've tried to start putting my phone out of my room at like 8 p.m. because that is a killer. And sometimes I'll end up, otherwise I'll sit in bed till like 10 p.m. and then I know I've got to be up at 4:45 and that's not enough sleep. No. So if my phone is out of my room, then it means that I'm just not tempted, and I'll read and like gratitude journal and reflect on the day. Yeah. And I think that really helps. Also, I listen to Mimi Bouchard's meditations, and my girls love them. And we listen to them and lie together. And I just feel like that really helps to wind us down as well.
That's so nice that you do it with the girls. I think giving these practices, like sharing them and being so open with the girls, they'll pick up on this. And these little hacks that you have and these tips.
Well, they ask for it as well. It's so nice.
And it's such a soothing thing. I wish that, so when I was younger, I used to watch, what were the two? Matilda was one of them, because I used to look like Matilda. You've seen that picture?
Yeah, the photo.
I had hundreds of messages being like, you are Matilda.
It's so
And when
funny.
I was younger, I used to just watch Matilda every night.
But that's not a bad
sleep.
person to channel.
It's not, but if I had, no screen and just the meditation on in the background, that would have been much better. Okay, so you have that in you're asleep by what, 9 or something like that?
Yeah, normally 9.
But how do you manage that? Because if I told my boyfriend that I wanted to start winding down at 6, he would have a heart attack. He'd be like, Bryony, we're not 12. We need to live our life.
But I'm basically 12 because I have young children.
But then how do you
so
balance
different.
like date nights, for example? Does your husband not say to you, listen, like,
so our date nights
can't we go out? Can't we go for margaritas? Can't we,
and as you
do
know,
that.
I do have periods in my year where I will have a blowout, because I do think I do enjoy that side of life as well, and I love being with my girls. And I, not my little girls, my
your
friends. Exactly. So I do that, but our date nights, our kids go to a drama school on a Friday evening, and it's 5:15 till 8:15.
Okay.
So we have a Soho house in Brighton. We go to the gym and then we go for dinner.
That's
so that
so
is
nice.
our like
Ritual.
time to reconnect.
Yeah.
And also because he has his own business, we often will take our dog for a walk. We'll drop the girls off, and then we'll, like yesterday, we literally had a walk together.
Yeah.
And again, that's like a little business meeting. We reconnect, see where we're at. He honestly inspires me and motivates me so much. He's like my biggest.
I remember you telling me that you were like sat in bed one day talking about kind of, what was it you were telling me? You were like saying, you were talking about who inspires you or whatever, and you and your husband were sitting there having these motivational chats. It's nice. It's so nice. And if you can have that around you non-stop, it just really lifts you up.
Oh,
it?
Massively. Honestly, I'm so grateful that he is on the same page as me. Like, he did a challenge and is still doing one where he worked out consecutively for 365 days.
That's insane.
So he did that all of last year and is now sometimes I'm like, no, Ali, you actually need to stop.
That's incredible.
But he has carried on. So, but I think for him, it's more the mental challenge.
Yeah.
And he went on his stag do in Ibiza last year. And for him, it was like, I know how difficult this is going to be, but it's the mental challenge of like going to the gym, even though he hadn't really slept.
Yeah.
It's like that.
He
has to. It's such a mental challenge, even more so than physical.
I need to teach him. He should come here.
Yeah, oh my God.
That would be good, wouldn't
100%.
it? I taught Toby yesterday 20 minutes.
Oh, I saw that on your Instagram.
And
he was dripping, wasn't he?
His Whoop popped up with detected weight training, and we'd done 20 minutes, no equipment.
Because I honestly try and say to him how beneficial, because I think he thinks that Pilates is a bit of like he's like, oh, you're just doing Pilates today kind of attitude, and I'm like, no, you need to friggin' try.
Oh my God,
he does some ab stuff sometimes, but that is it. He wouldn't do any of the he likes to go to the gym. And
one of my goals is to change this whole image around Pilates being girly, because
100%.
It's such a strength-based thing, so I don't understand where that ever came from.
And also, surely it would only enhance
his performance in the gym.
Yeah.
So my boyfriend's obsessed with the gym, and like we'll go every other day for kind of 2 hours.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he focuses on mobility, flexibility, strength. He goes
Amazing.
Like deep. He's very intense with his kind of mindset and everything.
Love that.
And if we're away and we go to the gym together, I'll like go over to him and correct his form doing his routine, and he's like, oh my God, now I'm feeling it here. And it makes such a difference. So he now does this like Pilates activation before his
it's that
strength.
Kind of core stuff.
Yeah, because then when he's lifting heavy weights, he's activating his core. He's moving in a different way. So yeah, bring him in next time.
I will.
So just to finish, what are your supplements?
Okay.
What are your top 5 go-to must-have supplements?
100% organ meat capsules.
Yeah.
So, and then oyster capsules I've started taking recently as well, because they're like nature's multivitamin.
Yeah, they're amazing.
So I've started taking those. What else do I have every day? So creatine, but only if I'm working out.
Yeah.
So I won't have that every day. So the thing is with me, I don't actually like to take the same supplements every day.
Yeah.
I think it's dependent on what I'm doing in the day. So I didn't have creatine today because I didn't do like a heavy workout. And then NAD, I really like as well. Glutathione, another one. Digestive enzymes, I feel like have really made a difference.
Which brand of digestive enzymes? Yeah.
Yeah, I get everything from Health because I just feel like they're so good.
And you can get the brands, the American brands, like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Collagen. Sorry, did you say 5? And I'm like reeling off a whole load.
Okay.
And then a magnesium as well.
Yeah,
really
same.
Important.
I love
and then
magnesium.
I put magnesium in my girls' baths.
Yeah.
So when they have a bath, so then they absorb it through the skin.
I love a magnesium bar.
I could probably go on about I'm like, all these ones are coming to me that I've missed. And I'm like...
It's so hard. And then you also don't want to become like... You don't want to have like a rattle when you walk.
No,
you do want to keep it as simple as possible.
Yeah.
And what would you say your top 3 wellness tips?
Again, how can I pick 3?
I know. But what are the 3 things that have really changed your life?
Waking up early, without a doubt. It just changes your whole mindset for the day. You don't feel like you're chasing the day. Personally, I think, it's changed my life. And then movement of some kind, whether that be walking, Pilates. I don't feel like I've woken up, and it just shifts my mood so much if I move my body. So you say 3, don't you? And then I'm like, I think morning sunlight is another really important one that people underestimate. Just being outside is so good for your circadian rhythm, which will then
help your sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll
and even
better.
your digestion and everything.
Yeah, it's so connected. Your hormones, everything kind of just goes into sync.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for coming on. This is so good.
Oh, thank you. I've loved this, Bryony. Thank you.
Good. Thank you.